gonna have to pretend because I don't have a lighter.
What's poppin', people? It's another episode of your favorite podcast, Cigars and Ash. I am one of three, and you can't do it without me, and that is Loco Lou.
Keith to be named later.
The nipple sucker with the way that cigar looks. And Joe. Oh, and by the way, yeah, I did have potatoes today.
There you go.
Every time I come, it looks like I either had the potatoes the day before or the day of.
Day of, right?
It was good, man. 2 potatoes and a piece of salmon. It was delicious.
Piece of salmon.
The salmon was overdone.
Okay.
It was okay.
I went to Five Guys to get me
hey, yo. To get blown out?
to get
Let's
the
say
beef.
what you do on your weekends
To get the beef.
It's all about.
I had to get the beef. I had to get the beef with the pork and pickles and all that good shit.
No judgment.
No
judgment.
Judge-free zone here, but you can do what you want.
Hey, listen. If you can't get a double bacon cheeseburger
With
all
the
the way,
with the pickle.
all the way, you ain't eating a burger.
Yeah, man, what a week! I'm telling you, I took my daughter to gymnastics,
Yeah.
and I parked the car. So I'm staying in the car. I was like, I'm gonna stay in the car and chill for a bit. I'm in the car, and I hear this pounding against my car. I'm like, what the fuck is that? When I look up, it's a cardinal. The thing flew right into my car.
Oh.
And then I see it just hit my windshield, fall, roll, bounce, and fly away. 2 minutes later, don't lie, hits my windshield again. And this on the side of my car. Boom. Hits it, lands on the side view mirror, hangs out for a bit. When I move, it flies away.
Damn.
And then it hits it from the other side of the... I was like, what the fuck is... This bird is going nuts.
Hey, maybe you thought their beard was a nest. It was trying to get in.
It was trying to get in.
Possibly.
No, man. I thought the bird was psycho. I was like, I need to look this up because I need to know exactly what the fuck's going on. So I go to Google and I type in cardinal is hitting, and Google fills out the rest. My car. I'm like, I guess I'm not the only one. Well, apparently the explanation is that I was too close to its nest and its mating season. Oh. And since my car is black, it reflects his image. So he thought he was seeing a rival bird, and he was trying to beat him up. Bing. And I'm like, but the first time you hit the windshield, it's not a rival bird, it's my reflection.
Hey, get out of here. Get out of here, you.
Fucking bird brain.
Are you mocking me? Stop mocking me.
That's funny.
Like the video of the drunk guy.
Oh, yeah.
That he's fighting with this mirror image. He keeps trying to walk through, and he's like, ooh. And they filming it. It was just like that. He kept hitting the windshield. I had to look it up. I thought the bird was sick or something. I'm like, whatever that thing has, like the bird flu, and it's trying to like, I don't know, man, like bite me, and then I become a zombie. The patient zero from a fucking bird.
The bird apocalypse.
Yeah. The Alfred Hitchcock movie. The birds start attacking everything.
Yeah. Next thing you know, he's gonna start growing a beak.
There you go.
Dude, so I moved my car and I parked closer at the end of the night. The parking lot's more empty. She's coming out, so I parked the car closer, and there's 2 birds fighting. I'm looking. I'm like, yo,
it's a cockfight.
It's a cockfight.
It's a cardinal fight.
I was like in the ghetto of, I guess like the ghetto of the bird area. It just fights everywhere. I was like, oh my! I recorded that one, and I was like, World Star.
World Star.
Listen, the streets are real, bro. You don't know. You don't want to you ran into a Bloods versus Crips bird fight.
Damn.
It's a blue jay and a cardinal that were going at it.
Exactly.
Oh, man. Well, that's what happens when you crossing the streams and crossing the turfs and shit. But
It's crazy.
So
I was just nuts. That's what happened to me.
So
that was just today.
So speaking of nuts, we're doing it again. We have 3 different types of cigars. The penis tip goes to our boy Keith.
The Royal Crown.
The short and dark.
Diamond Crown.
The Diamond Crown, or whatever. It's Torpedo.
I could tell it's a torpedo.
I know.
It looks like it's a carnival cigar. It's like, hey.
It looks like the baseball bats.
Yeah, exactly.
It looks like a baseball bat.
I stole this one from the Yankees dugout.
Their bats are shaped funny now, and so is the cigars.
Yeah,
it's a natural.
Yeah, I got a square shape. Prensado.
You got the box shape.
Yep.
Alec Bradley
Prensado.
And I got the Punch Diablo.
The Punch Diablo.
Yeah, it's supposed to be a Maduro.
A Maduro? Yeah,
Maduro.
yeah, that's why she says Maduro, Maduro.
I never heard that because I just right when I smoke a cigar. See what I went there? See, I tricked you. Yeah.
That was drier than your other dad jokes.
No, man. So what freaking
man,
our friend put up on Facebook about two vegetarians
fighting.
I had to respond.
Is it still called beef?
I had to respond with another dad joke.
So what would you call that?
No, I said everyone was tofu fighting.
I told him it was just called an argument, but they do have the power to squash it.
Boom.
Drum, the drum, right? There we go.
Yeah, but you know what?
I go. It's lame. That's a dad joke.
But listen,
they have to squash the vegetable.
Yeah, but listen, if they can, they gotta talk.
I have to explain it.
They gotta talk it out. They have to talk it out eventually and get to the root of the conversation. Go ahead, give me it. Thank you. That's what I was waiting for. So, while he figures out what he's doing, yeah, you could have told those two vegetarians, "Yo, stop tossing salad, all right?"
Hey, no, whoa. No, they're arguing. They're not eating each other's butts.
No, they're getting into each other's ass, right?
They're about to throw the beats to each other.
Yes, they are.
Welcome to the dad joke episode. Apparently,
dad jokes. Oh, the dad jokes.
They're like, yo, you got beef? No, I got beans, baby. What kind of beans you got today?
They're about to stir fry it up.
Oh, man.
I got that bush bake style. No. I got arroz con habichuelas. The freaking gandules, bro. or what was it? Habichuela dulce. The stuff that my wife and her family be making. Sweet beans.
Yeah. Like a rice pudding.
I know the rice pudding, man.
A rice pudding I could take, but that I can't do the dulce.
Man.
Yeah.
I don't know about beans. I don't even really like the rice pudding.
Yeah.
They put cinnamon on it, and it's just condensed milk and rice.
It's delicious.
Yeah, but I like this cigar. This cigar is nice. It has a nice flavor to it. It's not overpowering either for a dark wrap. This is not even it's not harsh. No whatchamacallit, not some cigars if they will have like that aftertaste of smoke.
Oh, because sometimes when it has a smoke, it's because you probably burnt it a bit.
Burnt it too hard. Not like a burnt taste, but like I could taste a little bit of like cedar, like wood.
Woody, that is.
But,
that is. Keep going. See if you could get it.
Trying to get it, but it tastes good.
I know, but you said keep going. I want to hear it.
You want to hear the what?
I want to hear you explain it. What you tasting? Tell me.
Yeah, I'm going for it. Hold on.
You saying that it's not strong?
No, it's not overly powering. No.
Crazy. Okay.
I don't know. Maybe it's because
I mean, it's one of the strongest cigars I have.
It's one of the strongest cigars you used to have. This shit is light.
96-point rating. So you have flavors of. It says here, expect a bold and eventful blend. Brings out interesting flavors in spades. Buttery, smooth notes of deep, rich nuances, including roasted flavors like coffee. Dash of sweet red pepper. That's what it says right now.
Yeah, see,
you're gonna expect the whole earthy feeling, the flavor, and everything as well because of the it's a Honduras.
It's a Honduras wrap
filler.
Filler, okay.
It's a Nicaraguan binder.
Yeah, because this it just it hits different. It tastes different. It's good. It's not a bad taste either.
So it's your first time having that one, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I like this one. I think this will be my go-to for, like, a dinner cigar.
A dinner cigar?
Yeah. One right after dinner or before dinner.
Right after or before? Which one? That's
Right
one or
after.
the other.
No, it could be both.
They're both.
Oh, fuck. How about you, Keith?
So I have the Diamond Crown. It's a Dominican origin, Dominican fill, Connecticut wrapper. It's actually an aged, fermented leaf wrap. So Connecticut fermented wrapper for 5 years.
Ooh.
So pretty good. It's a little earthy, has hints of nutmeg and spices. So
It's like a Christmas cigar. Nutmeg.
yeah, nutmeg.
Nutmeg.
Come on, man. I got
The wire.
The Wire. Oh, okay.
Yeah, the wire.
Yeah, it's rubber. Oh, you did that and I spilled some ashes on the table.
No. That's why I saw the ash fall. And I was like, no.
Oh, fuck. I don't want to do a...
Now you might come with Ash Mountain.
No, good. We're good with that. It didn't burn the tarp or anything.
No, but he has Ash Mountain though.
Well, I got a punch.
I prepared my our studio area because of a former incident where
It was none of us here.
Some ashes nearly burnt a hole in my furniture, but we're good.
All right, so I got a Punch Diablo. It's by A.G. Fernandez. So it is a really, like it says here, a really meaty cigar.
Meaty.
So you vegetarians, you can't have it.
It's beefy formats, delivers a cool burning smoke with a bold and feisty finish. You got these have notes of hickory, leather, and spicy aromas.
Some
Okay.
beefy leather in your mouth.
Yeah, beefy leather, yo. He got a sirloin in his mouth right now.
You went to Five Guys and I'm having the beef.
Yeah, the beefy leather in his mouth. He's getting the biker cigar. It's like the Blue Oyster Cult.
You can hear the music.
Bold beefy with leather.
With leather. Yeah.
Leather.
Don't forget about the ass chaps.
That's what I'm saying. My cigar has some ass chaps on it.
Hey, for the record, all chaps are assless.
All chaps. That's what you said, chaps.
That's right. Yeah. So, as usual, we're cutting it up, going through our week. Nothing too eventful for me. I'm under NDA.
NDA from where?
What? NDA to what?
None of your nervous. No.
That's NDB.
Just my typical uneventful life.
But like off the record, we're not recording. Beep.
Off the record. So what had happened was
Shit.
but what I did do, because there's always a discussion.
What he do?
I do the voodoo that I do so well. It's always a discussion when we record. If I saw Daredevil, because it's usually the day of or the day after that we record.
Yeah, that's my ass asking.
And
but I didn't ask yet. I didn't ask.
He didn't ask, and I actually did watch it.
But to preempt it, I didn't watch it.
See, so what happened was
I did watch it, and if
did you enjoy it?
Yes. I mean, I did enjoy it.
Okay.
I've seen some spoilers online because they're like, "How did Daredevil do this?" And I'm like, "Shut the fuck up."
So spoiler alert: Daredevil is the one that wears red.
Shit, man.
That Punisher wears an actual badass skull on his chest, unlike some copycats.
Right. Copycat cops. Right. It's pretty good.
His chest, actual skull. He has someone's
right. Yeah. He's walking around like with a Texas skull on his
longhorn.
like a longhorn on.
Yeah, go Longhorns.
He's just like goring people, like chest bumping and goring people.
I'm just saying, like the vest that he has compared to everyone else, his actually formats to the skull.
So he comes back.
Yeah.
The skull.
I mean, other than the time that, other than when
what you saw.
Yeah. Other than Charlie Cox going, Matt Murdock going to him as Matt Murdock in the tunnels.
I was just referencing to the fact of the colors. I'm not going to give you that answer. I'm going to let you do your homework.
But I'm saying he came back, I guess. He came back as Punisher.
All I'm saying is that I enjoy when I see people get
their ass handed to.
Yeah, people get hands put on them in a violent way.
Word aggressively.
Like, come here, I'm gonna put my hands on you.
No, I like the peaceful, like vigilantes.
The peaceful
They go out there and they give you like daisies and stuff.
Listen, you're going through a lot.
Listen, Smart Hulk has to die. I'm sorry. Smart Hulk has to die.
Smart Hulk. Oh my god. Is it?
You remember when Valkyrie says, I like you better either way.
Right.
Not this way.
Either the two ways.
Either the two ways. This way, no. This is just wrong.
Oh man, I don't know, man. What's in store for the future, because apparently everybody's gonna be in. We already talked about all the. I've been having a lot of fun with all the fake quote spoiler memes.
Oh god.
For Doomsday?
Of who's gonna be in Doomsday, like Rob Schneider is gonna come back as the animal.
As the animal.
That's funny. That's funny.
All
the donkey noises and shit.
Yeah, all the crazy random stuff.
Did you guys get to see the spoiler? What's supposed to be is the spoiler suit of Doctor Doom.
Yeah, I was like, that looks like an Iron Man suit.
It looks like an Iron Man suit with a green cape, and then Robert Downey Jr. looks like whatchamacallit,
he looks like
the
Ego.
Rebirth of Superman with the mullet.
Well, yeah,
the mullet, I was saying he looks like Ego.
Yeah, he looks like Ego almost, because of the hair.
Right. It looks. It's again, spoiler. Look it up. It's on the internet. I don't know if it was leaked by anyone.
We don't know if it's real or not. We just speculated.
Any official source or anything like that, but a couple of other Facebook, Instagram, whatever interweb, profiles shared it. It looks less tech, less mech heavy. Mm-hmm. It almost looks like, from the pictures, it looks almost like a textured, like a stealth suit, not necessarily like how Cap's stealth suit used to look, but it looks rubberized. It looks textured, rubberized versus mechanical. So I don't know, and it'll be a change if it is, because most of what RDJ did was like, okay, if once the helmet closes, like everything's CGI. Like, I'm not really there. All I'm doing is talking into a microphone, right?
Yeah.
This one looks like they actually went to some production of like creating a suit for him. So he may have a lot of like walking and talking roles, as opposed to like just him voicing through the suit.
I'm guessing because now he's a leader of a country, or dictator of a country, whatever you want to say, what you want to call it. But now he's gonna be the leader of the country, so he's gonna be probably gonna be walking around talking to people, and stuff like that. I mean, it makes more sense.
I'll be interested to see the how they're gonna translate his power set, and also just the aesthetics of him with the cape and the robe or whatever, the hood. I'm interested to see if they're gonna play that route, or they're just gonna play him majority of the time as like the distinguished leader or whatever, or he's just like commanding things. I don't know how much actual screen time he's gonna have.
There we go.
Yeah.
So as I pull up this suit looks a mix between what we've seen in the comics, if you're familiar with Invincible Iron Man, where Dr. Doom takes over as Iron Man, and his Iron Man suit is literally that new transformation suit, and he's rocking just the cloak, and his powers seep through the suit with the Stark Tech, and that's what it looks like. I have it right here. If you guys, you got it. You looking at it? Yeah. So, I'm looking at this suit. How do I feel about it in correspondence to what I'm used to for Doom? Passable, because what Marvel's trying to do and what they've been doing is they'll give us the more modern and new one they'll start giving to Iron Man. Yeah. So it looks
Infamous Iron Man.
Yeah, Infamous Iron Man. There you go. Gotta get that smoke.
Like this whole thing right here.
Yeah, I mean, it looks
Yeah.
like armor. It looks
Like
it's armor.
Right.
It's
You
armor
can't see any of
plated. It's armor plated, but it's not like it doesn't look like an Iron Man armor. I don't
No.
feel it looks like an Iron Man armor.
no, it looks more like Batman.
To compare.
Right.
It looks more like a Batman armor.
Right. That's what I say. It looks like it's a little bit more tactical.
Yeah, it looks
It's a
like Batman armor.
Like,
Like
It'll be great.
like
what was it? Tactical suit Batman from
yeah.
Justice League. Almost similar to that as far as like the way it's put together.
Yeah.
Not so much of how it visually looks, but visually looking
there's some scaling to it if you
Yeah.
zoom in, and there's some, like I said, the texture. It looks it's rubberized. It's muted. Like
Very.
there's not really a shine to it.
very.
I mean, and
And the only green is
robe,
the cape.
Yeah.
That's
So
the only green you'll
that-
see.
that's-
Everything else is like a gunmetal and some silver highlights.
Yeah. That's it. Awesome.
Which it's not wrong if you compare it to the infamous Iron Man version of Doctor Doom, but I think people are gonna be a little outraged because it's not classic comic book look like usual, because anything that's not classic comic book, they go crazy ape shit,
Yeah.
especially when it comes to like
fanboys.
yeah, like Venom. Oh, he doesn't have this the logo because he never met Spider-Man. Duh.
Yeah.
Oh, but then how you make a Venom film? Similar to what they did in the Ultimate Universe when Venom first came out. Venom didn't have the logo. He had to absorb Spider-Man in order to get the logo,
Right.
and then spit Spider-Man back out. So that whole thing is different in itself. And if you ever played the Ultimate Spider-Man game, you'll know what I'm talking about. If you read the comics, you know what I'm talking about.
So I tell you, I have a little bit of a mixed feeling about this, about what looks again to be a chest reactor, arc reactor,
Yeah.
right? Like, I don't think he needs it. In terms of the look of the costume, but I'm almost certain they're either gonna use that as a tie-in or they're gonna backstory it somehow. Because they're gonna. We know who it is. We know who he is. I mean, us as viewers of the movie and true life, we know it's RDJ.
Yeah.
But if they're gonna go with the fact that it's an alternate universe or whatever it is, whichever way they go for it, I don't think he really needs the chest arc reactor as proof of anything.
Well, I don't even think that.
Because it looks fire. I mean, it
looks
looks
fine.
fire without it.
Yeah,
I
it
think.
looks fine as is, but because he's playing Doctor Doom, we don't know if he's playing Victor Von Doom, which is the person behind the mask, versus Doctor Doom, which he'll send a Doombot out, and everyone assumes that's Doctor Doom.
So I say, imagine they show that and all that, and it's a Doombot.
Yeah, they
finally pay off the life model decoy.
life model decoys and shit. But here I'm gonna spitball what could possibly be. Remember what happened with Rhodey and Norman Osborn? We never got a Norman Osborn, but we have Rhodey, and Rhodey became what?
War Machine.
Handicap.
Iron
Yes.
War Machine became Iron Patriot. Iron Patriot is synonymous with Norman Osborn for Dark Reign in the comics.
Right. Okay.
Right? So we got an Iron Patriot, but it's not the one that we know from the comics. And Marvel does that often in the MCU, where they'll take a known name, in name alone, get the visual look of it, but the person behind the mask is not the same person wielding it. For instance, my example, Iron Patriot. So I think RDJ is still Iron Man, but never took the title of Iron Man and took the title of Doom.
Yeah. So I got just some quick Instagram stuff. Google Magic. There's some they're downplaying it. Of course, maybe it's a strategic leak. Because sometimes they do that also.
Yeah.
It could be test footage from something else.
Mm-hmm.
But there's some Instagram pages also that says that it's a fake. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but it's hard. It's hard to go. Oh, it's a fake. Okay, because it's happened before. It's happened before. I mean, they when for Endgame or actually not Endgame, Infinity War. When Thanos is fighting Captain in the trailers, they left out stones.
Yes, true. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Stuff like that, or to an extent, the leaks would be No Way Home with Andrew Garfield. The leaks, and Andrew was like, "Oh, it's not me. It's probably CGI. Someone put a face on or whatever." He lied.
Right. Well,
lied.
I mean, there was a leak, and he had to downplay the leak.
That's
So
what I'm saying.
he had to,
We're talking about the downplay, saying that there's some website saying it's a fake. I'm saying it could be downplaying.
Now, here's my question: how likely is this fake? Could be another suit that we've seen before, or have yet to see, and they just superimpose Robert Downey Jr.'s face into it.
Because
No, I'm saying what suit though?
I was gonna
this
say
could possibly be the
Mark. Well, I was thinking it was almost like the Mark V suit because I see how the plating looks. It looks almost like it's segmented.
Well, all the Iron Man suits are segmented before they get CGI'd.
But I'm talking about the suitcase suit.
Suitcase suit. Yeah, I know what you're talking about, but I'm just saying that all Iron Man suits look like this before the CGI because they add these little things in there, motion capture stuff to the suit. But whatchamacallit, this suit kind of gives me Thor's suit vibes based on the way the drapes are, the gauntlets, but also I get Sentry from the new Thunderbolts because I've seen the figure and it kind of looks like that in the shoulder area, which I think that all in all this could be a faked image because let's be honest, that shit is blurry as fuck.
It is.
It's super blurry.
It's super fucking blurry, deliberate.
But like I said, you're talking. It could be they could have taken parts and put it together.
Mm-hmm.
Photoshopped it together. Take certain parts and make it look like a whole new suit. It could be parts Thor, parts the Century, parts Mark V. It could be.
Yeah, I something about it just looks like it looks like one of the first like Christian Bale suits or where it's like tactical armor. It almost has actually. You know what? That's what I'm really thinking of.
Yeah.
Remember when he first got his suit? Mm-hmm. That it was like it was with Lucius Fox and it was that carbon weave,
carbon fiber weave, the first suit,
right? And he just painted over it. That's the texture that it looks like.
Yeah, it kind of looks like that because I get that Batman vibe. That's why I'm like, it looks like a Batman suit. Especially the gauntlets. If you look at the gauntlets, that reminds me of...
The gauntlets, the sleeves, it
has a similar shape to it.
His arm isn't fully plated. Nope. It just looks like the forearm piece and the upper arm piece, and he just has gloves on.
They use
mind you, we're talking about Batman Begins suit, not necessarily the entire trilogy, but just the Batman Begins suit because it was a more... smooth rubberized suit that's supposed to be armored case suit, which made him very immobile. So I don't know, man. I call BS on this.
I like it. I do call BS on I think it's too on the nose to have a chest arc reactor. I'm I don't think he needs it unless they're gonna
power of the suit.
Replay the origin, but still.
No, but I'm saying maybe he just uses the power of the suit.
Yeah,
something has the power of the suit.
Yeah,
the battery.
Right.
I mean, at a certain point, Iron Man didn't need it either.
It's true, yeah, because he
still had the thing. It's the power of the suit.
Well, because he went to nanotech, but it just I think it's a cheap plot piece to carry it through of it's a arc reactor technology.
So is it real or is it fake?
Fake. I think it's fake.
It's fake.
That's fake. I think it's fake, but if it is real, it looks pretty good.
But I think what this could be, what Joe said, earlier.
Or if it's going to be multiple suits throughout the battle or throughout the movie.
Yeah, it could be that too. Or it could be just Marvel throwing shit at us to get us talking.
Yeah, or distract us, or
because,
red herring.
Yeah.
Red herrings, because we still got Fantastic Four coming out, and everyone's talking about that in a negative light.
The Fantastic Four going through reshoots now because test audiences weren't happy with certain things.
Yeah, they said that this film is going to target a more modern and masculine audience.
Masculine or emasculine? Because I heard opposite.
I heard masculine. So
now there's conflicting views.
Yeah,
exactly. There was something not right with the movie.
Exactly.
Apparently, I wasn't at no test screening, so I have no idea.
Right.
So I'm not, people talk shit.
There's Nerdrotic. Nerdrotic is a group of like podcasters. They do reviews, and they did some of the reviews from the CinemaCon.
Yeah.
And their take on it is that it was going to be heavily focused on Sue Storm, which whatever reason, that's their take on it. I don't know if that's true. They're questioning the casting, the legitimate casting of Reed Richards,
Pedro Pascal.
Mm-hmm. Where he's, the way they put it was he doesn't fit he fits the look, but they don't think he fits the role of the smartest man in the world. They think it's going to lean more towards talk more about their relationship, leaning towards her, and also the relationship between Sue and Johnny as the brother.
Yeah, being more political figures and stuff like that.
More not just political figures, but they're like they're trying to downplay his personality.
Mm-hmm. He's not a machismo man,
right?
He's not a what they call it, a devil may cry.
Devil may cry is exactly what the term that they use. Yeah. He's not a womanizer. He's not whatever.
I'm sorry, we need more womanizing, man.
Listen, because when the actual comics came out, like in the 60s, it wasn't really considered womanizing. It was like
you want him to come home?
Susan, you don't have my dinner on the table.
Backhand. You just slapped your sister. That's crazy. What's like?
Hey, listen, I'm all for it, man. Sean Connery said, we'll backhand him real quick, just once. It's not abuse. It's a straight up you disrespect.
Right.
You hit me.
I do not condone hating women.
Rest in peace.
At least one of the three of us don't.
Listen. I'm just saying, protect yourself at all costs. But you don't have to put your hands on somebody just because they use words. You know what I mean? But disrespect is disrespect. Either way.
Rest in peace, Sean Connery. But what I'm talking about is like Johnny was like, he was charming. He was like flirtatious. Like that's how it was in the comic books in the 60s, and then of course in the later runs in the 70s, 80s.
He was Stifler.
He was basically he was Stifler, and then we saw how Chris Evans played it. He was always flirting and the hothead, not to play into what his eventual powers would be. But their take again, they didn't see.
So he's Johnny Storm because he's a hothead. And because gonorrhea burns.
Well, gonorrhea burns.
I'm gonna have to take your word for it. I don't know.
Damn, you can look up gonorrhea.
When I pee, it burns. I shoot out streams of flames. Nah, but each power for the Fantastic Four goes according to their characteristics. And
but the Fantastic is a stretch.
He stretches himself way thin.
Way too thin. He's trying to do too much.
Too much at one time, which gives him the ability to be more elastic than Plastic Man.
And Susan is there not to be seen?
No, she's actually... She could create...
She shouldn't be seen unless she's in the kitchen. No, that's your power. So she steps out the kitchen, she goes invisible.
This guy. See, he went there.
But as soon as like parts of a sandwich out, she just becomes visible.
You notice the one who said that I don't condone none of this is the first person to say such shit. Yeah.
Barefoot in the kitchen. That's where you belong.
Nah.
I just took the conversation where it was going eventually.
No, but I was just gonna say that Susan Storm's.
Today's episode is sponsored by the Women's Rights Coalition.
No, but No, but it's more of a sheltered motherling. You know that thing, force fields.
Yeah.
Hiding in plain
Protective.
sight, protective. Because what better way to like evade a situation?
Like hiding from your husband so you don't get the
Oh.
backhand.
This guy, he's the one who's taking it there. You see what I'm saying?
It's hilarious.
Then you got the thing, who is always
Well, he's the muscle. He's the rough.
he's the
gruff
rock
one.
the technically the rock of the group,
the foundation
He's the
of the-
foundation
of the
of
group.
everybody. He's the friend of everybody. Always tough as nails, and you're either gonna run through a rock and a hard place, and he's both.
Right.
So
He's the one that you rely on.
yeah, he's the
So
one.
I mean, with what the suspected reshoots are hasn't really been said, but that's just the take from one.
They just
of-
announced that there
you
was
know.
reshoots. They didn't really even give a reason to why they were reshooting.
Yeah.
It's just speculation that it was because the test audience didn't like the movie as much. It's a speculation. They didn't say why. That's speculation though. That's all.
Yeah, because of the 2 and 2, they put together like, oh, that's the reason.
Everyone's reaching for something right now.
I mean, it was like they did it with Snow White because the test audience didn't like it, and then so that's the speculation now that it's because of that.
I mean, it's the tie. They're not going to change the title because we're too close to it. It's 3 months away, 2.5 months away.
Fantastic Five.
The double entendre of the first steps where it's going to be like the first steps in space, the first steps into the cinematic universe. Also, triple entendre is first steps is the talk of Franklin Reed's, their child. So, whether we don't know what was shown. I'm just throwing wood on the fire in terms of could it be they played one personality type in the movie more prevalent versus the other, or it was it could be that they focused too much on the actual family dynamic. Who knows?
See, I don't mind if they play on the family dynamic so much as long as they get the characters right. See, I think the first Fantastic Four, the way they got the characters were awesome.
Mm-hmm.
The look of Doom, not so much.
Yeah.
But I do appreciate what they were going for. I still enjoy that film.
Mm-hmm.
That film is still good. Fantastic Four.
The first
one.
First
Okay.
Evans.
First one.
First Evans
Okay.
and Joan.
Yeah, like don't get me
I
wrong.
don't make sure which one
Yeah.
you're talking
I
about.
enjoy the Silver Surfer.
Right.
Because of Silver Surfer, he's the best part of that movie.
They did a really good job
Best part.
displaying Silver Surfer and his power set, everything. The way like he used the board,
The board
and everything.
and the way they took away his power from the board.
Yeah.
But still, what was the downfall of that movie? Besides Galactus,
Galactus.
Doctor Doom.
Yeah.
Granted, he had more of that comic book look, but you could tell the armor wasn't armor; it was foam.
Yeah.
Like throw the dude in a suit of armor, man. Make that shit chrome.
It was foamy. It's okay.
Well, I mean, and they even like
he was allowed in Comic-Con with it. It's cool.
the original Fantastic Four, the 2000s Fantastic Four, I
Yeah.
should say, not the original, the Roger Corman one, which we bootleg.
1990s.
That we
It's the only way we could do it.
That we
Only way we could do it.
bootleg ripped from the internet somewhere.
It's the only way we could do it.
I'm gonna see if I can find it.
Yeah, I have it. I'll send it to you. I have the actual video file.
Oh, nice.
But the I think it was on Daily Motion. I don't know if it's still on there. I lost my train of thought. The way the family was set up, like it was truly distinct. Like their personalities were front and center. And then the interplay between them. Johnny always fighting with Ben. Like that kind of thing. That was cool. The fight scenes were definitely era appropriate. It was a 2000s movie, so it was like the showcased fight scene. It was like almost if it was a video game, it was like almost like the theme music would have started playing before the fight, right?
Yeah.
They still haven't shown Pedro Pascal using his powers.
Yeah, they haven't showed him using his powers, and the only one that they showed is Thing and Johnny.
No, I mean there was like a very short 5-second clip of Sue like using the force field.
Yeah, but you don't see her turning invisible.
No, you don't. No.
So
I think I don't see that there's gonna be an epic. I'm sure there will be some type of fight, but I don't see that it's gonna be some type of epic battle in the movie. Like I don't see it. It doesn't give me that feel.
See, I don't think it's gonna get that because we're supposed to see Mole Man, and then we're supposed to see a Nihilist.
Yeah, we're forgetting about yeah,
because we got Mole Man and we got the Moloids, and then we have a Nihilist, right? And the Nihilist is the bigger threat of everything else. So it's like they can have their moment. They don't have to have big moments. Like, granted, we want to see villains. Right, and some people want to see villains more than they want to see heroes. But then when you get that, you get Sony Marvel, and we already know how that turns out. But when you focus more on the hero and you put the villains in, not so much giving them the whole story arc, but you put certain villains in. Like, I wouldn't mind, like when we got Shocker, right? There were 2 different versions of Shocker in the thing. They didn't even technically give him a name until he called himself that.
Yeah.
Right? And we got it, and it worked. We got a villain for Spider-Man Homecoming, and then we got the Vulture. But they were done at that point. And then we also had the Tinkerer in there too. So you had multiple villains in there doing their thing, but they didn't need a full backstory in order to play them out. You knew that they were there, they were doing their thing, and that was cool. But for Fantastic Four, you can do the same thing with, like, Mole Man, Moloids, and all that.
The character recognition is because we know the characters from years and years ago.
Yeah, watching.
Right? Having someone like John Malkovich in the movie.
Yeah.
Like, regardless what scene he's in, he's going to steal it. Whether it's 5 minutes or, if it's cut up in between throughout the whole movie, he's going to have a
10-minute monologue. That's it.
But, I don't see Malkovich doing a fight scene.
He don't have to fight.
I know that. That's but I don't. I think it's gonna be either again the way the trailers were cut and the featurettes. I think they're gonna do maybe a showcase.
They probably do a display of power and here and there,
right?
But
talk about their former battles, or
exactly,
or there's gonna be a background news story of the Fantastic Four saves us again,
and like a little clip here and there,
right?
Like, I get that, and I wouldn't mind that because it if we're not getting the origin story from beginning to end like we did with the first Fantastic Four film or the Roger Corman film or even the Fantastic Four stick, which I think they flopped on that, and it could have been great if they just took their time and played it out right, because they made it more of a sci-fi film, but it was so slow.
Yeah,
the pacing was so slow. There's one thing to take your time, and there's another thing to be slow.
The newer one had a pacing issue. What I enjoyed from the newer one, I'm talking about the one with Miles Teller.
Yeah,
the ways that he can use his power set. And, it was a little jarring to see at first, but it was interesting how he actually morphed his face. It's almost like restructured
his own face. Yeah,
and it looked painful. It looked like it was bone structure actually moving. For him to do his face, like they didn't do any much of the true life in battle powers, except for when they were on the whatever the portal planet.
Yeah.
And again, I don't know if they're gonna do that with Pedro Pascal.
I see. I think they can. It's just that a lot of people are Pedro Pascal fatigued.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
I mean, they're gonna. I know they're gonna have to do it. Because of everybody knows him as Mr. Fantastic. So it might be an arm stretch here and there or something. Maybe he does it to save one of his teammates, like something's falling, like, you know, it just stretches out. But I don't think it's going to be an integral part of whatever fight scene they're going to show.
Yeah, see, that's the thing.
They're
holding out on it.
Yeah.
I think they're holding out deliberately because, one, it's not ready. Two, it's not ready. And three, it's not ready.
It ain't ready.
But if they were to show, like, everybody knows, in Fantastic Four, the one you have to get right is the Thing. If no one accepts the Thing, the movie's going to fail.
Yeah.
Right?
And in a way, it's comic accurate. It's Kirby, not Allison Kirby, which is playing Sue Storm, but Kirby did old school, like the design of their suits and everything. You know, it's that old school feel. He looks great. To be honest, I'm not mad at the, what was it, the 2015?
Yeah, 2014.
2014
approach on the Thing.
Because it was more.
He looked like Korg in the comics.
It looked, he did look like Korg, but it was like it was true life in a sense. Like that's what you think basically a rock monster would look like. You know.
Yeah.
I'm not too mad at that. It's
See, I think when they did that, they made the Thing look more like Korg than they did Korg.
Right. Well, before Korg came out, right?
Yeah, because they did rock monsters before they did Fantastic Four with Thor's first appearance with Korg's alien race.
Yeah.
And they even put that in the Marvel verses. Wolverine versus Hulk, and then Hulk versus Thor, and that story plays out in there as well with what was it, Worldbreaker Hulk, for World War Hulk, in that animation film. But as far as like, I just hope that this film it takes us in a different direction than what current Marvel Disney has been taking us, because it's not so much fatigue, it's more of the stories that they're telling is either uninteresting or they're too complex for them to grasp. Like when they did Moon Knight, I enjoyed it, it was good, but they took too long to like flush out the character because they want to introduce this chick and this god and that god instead of getting to the core of it. You know what I mean?
But it was, Moon Knight was also a character with, like, when they talk about obscure characters that they had the rights to. Moon Knight was definitely an obscure character.
Beyond obscure.
There's a lot of characters they put out there that were once considered obscure and then became hits.
Yeah. It's just
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, that was ragtag bunch of whatever, right?
That was an obscure comic book. That was something that wasn't in the middle front.
To get Joe into this, because it's set in the alternate futuristic 60s, 50s, 60s. I was saying that I don't think they're gonna have either a prolonged epic battle scene or multiple battle scenes. It doesn't look like that type of movie. Maybe they're gonna have something that looks as if like a skirmish of some sort, and I'm not talking about like a practice skirmish, but like a little dust up. Like they showcase some of their past events, because it looks like the way the featurette is and what the trailers have been is like they're doing like a documentary expose on them. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I mean, the fact that it's called First Steps.
Yeah.
I don't feel like they're gonna have like an epic battle right away.
Yeah.
Even with Galactus coming in, I don't think it's gonna be some kind of like epic battle. To be honest,
I think it might actually be more space heavy than anything versus like true life ground battle.
Another battle in New York City.
Yeah.
Battle.
Granted, we do see the Thing running in the city, and the city's in rubble.
Yeah.
Which could be the end of the film.
Yeah.
Towards the end of the film.
We don't know the sequencing.
Also, whatchamacallit, based on what I've seen with the figures, because I follow the figures, heavily. They do have versions of the Thing, and the Fantastic Four themselves in different suited formats.
Okay.
So they have this team right here like this. They have the Thing shirtless.
Okay.
Because you can tell because his hand and his forearm, like the forearm
exposed.
to the elbow, are exposed.
Right.
And all the time that we've seen him with this outfit
With the turtleneck kind of setup, right?
And only one time without it. And you know which time that was?
When he was running.
No, when he was running in this suit.
Oh.
The only time we saw him without this suit is when he's in the dating show, and he's sitting down when he has a collar shirt on.
True. Yes. Yeah.
That's the only time we see him without that uniform in the commercials thus far. But for the toys, they're showing this, and they're showing a version of this, which is their astronaut suits, which is similar to this but different. So I've seen like the stretch effects and all that other stuff, and it looks awesome on the figures. But they have not shown the Thing yet. They only showed his arm, and his arm doesn't look like the way this is, where it has the sleeves on. So I'm curious to see how far they're going to go with their everyday life versus them in their attire, because most of the time we're seeing everybody in regular outfits,
like street clothes. Yeah,
except for the Thing.
Well, I think they may have already done it. For some reason, I'm thinking that they did, and I may be tying in the other movies that you're gonna see Ben in the trench coat.
Oh, they did show that,
and the fedora.
They did show that, but he's completely covered.
Yeah,
and I'm just talking about the figures that they've shown releasing wise. So, like, I think him being covered was probably him walking from the dating show and him being depressed again. Because who's gonna date the Thing?
Yeah, oh.
And he ends up
love is blind.
Exactly, Alicia Masters.
I like the retro feel. I like the retro look. I mean, it's 60s era. I don't know. I feel off about it. I'm still gonna watch it. I'm excited to see it. I hope it's just not campy. Like, I hope they're not playing it up. Like,
I don't think it's gonna be campy.
Campy as in how?
Because it's in that whole futuristic. It's almost like the Stark Expo when they showed in first Avenger Captain America.
But doesn't Pablo Pascal kind of talk like that?
No, he talked like that for the interview.
For the interview, right?
He talked like that for the interview for that little expose that they're doing, because he's giving.
Come on, Susan.
Yeah, come on, Susan. You know what I mean? But also they placate into that time frame. And the thing is this: it did work for WandaVision.
Well,
it did work for WandaVision.
They went through different.
They went through different decades, but each time period went according to what they were playing at. And I think if they're going to stick to this timeline, they should stick to the timeline as far as what's going on in the situation, how they're talking to each other. Because even the way they spoke to each other, the slang is different. So,
in the 60s, you're looking like a. I mean, the futuristic 60s, you're mostly looking like Fallout. Their futuristic 50s style, because certain things
still
that happen.
haven't seen Fallout.
But it's the same premise. It's a timeline where
futuristic.
We use nuclear fusion for everything other than nuclear bombs,
right?
And everything evolved.
So you have everything's like robots, everything's like time dilated, because like you just
nuclear powered cars.
You just use everything from that era of technology, and
then you just add.
Cars had the fins, and
they had the fins. They looked like the 50s cars, but then they had the engine was nuclear based.
Yeah.
So they used everything with plutonium and utonium in it and everything else.
Everybody walking around with a DeLorean and can't fly.
Right.
They had robots.
They had the moon boots.
They had all that stuff. So I mean, it's like the same concept where it's a future where we are a past where our technology advanced faster than it normally did.
Well,
not just advanced faster than we did. It's like we chose a specific. We put our money down on a specific horse of, this is going to.
And it advanced technology faster than normal.
Right.
Like faster than what we have.
Right.
Because certain decisions were made that wasn't made in the real world, and that's what got them there.
Yeah, it's either
putting the
coal,
money,
steam, or
nuclear, right?
Yeah.
But that's what I mean. Putting our money down on a specific horse of like they're going that.
So Oppenheimer was like, I created this nuclear, and it was like, oh,
toaster.
Car, yeah, toaster instead of bomb. It was
a toaster.
It was a race to the first nuclear toaster,
right?
Here's this where everything has battery.
Everything has that feel to it because we chose that path of nuclear, and it's like what we didn't think of it, as opposed to what was developed is like the microprocessor, microchip. Like we went a different route. They went more like, I feel like it's gonna be overly 60s, 50s, 60s, where everything's like radio dials and vacuum tubes and
TVA style.
Yeah,
You gotta remember that their technology advanced faster from whatever they was to the 60s, and for us it was from like the 70s to the 2000s. For those 30 years here in real life, those 30 years, we advanced ridiculously. Like as soon as the Wright brothers, created flight, basically, the first airplane, it advanced like crazy. A couple years later, World War I, we had fighter planes.
Yeah.
It was
prop planes.
We went from two dudes on a glider to a propeller plane that could shoot down other planes and stuff like that, like the Red Baron kind of joint. But and then from there, technology kept just advancing. 60 years later, we were on the moon, and then 40 years from there, we have computers on our hands. That a computer / phone / camera / music player, everything fits in our pocket.
Yeah.
And I guess with them, it's just advanced.
I just hope that the movie plays a little bit more to the Incredibles.
Yeah,
I like that. I would like that.
That's the feel that I have, where it's and it's the future. It's future tech, based in the 50s, 60s. If we just stayed on that route of like, space race, the moon, and everything. Like I said, it's
Austin Powers just popped in my head.
Yeah, right. Everything has fins. Everything has lights. Everything
funny
has
enough,
lights.
That's the beginning of the movie.
Yeah, right.
It's Mr. Fantastic. Stretching out, grabbing stuff.
Yeah, everything's gonna have lights and dials. Everything's gonna look like Chevy Bel Airs. Everything. It's retro tech. I know it's supposed to be a standalone movie. The director already said it's going to be a standalone movie, in a sense.
But I can't believe that right now.
Yeah,
I can't believe they're just going to have Galactus on a standalone movie, or you know what I mean, like stuff like that. I don't think it's Silver Surfer on a standalone movie. It's going to expand.
Well,
I mean, they might not have other heroes show up in the movie. But by the end, they're gonna end up somewhere where all the other heroes.
I think if they do just a standalone movie, is because they want to close the chapter of Marvel. They want to close the chapter. That's the point of Secret Wars. Because I think they're gonna reboot the franchise entirely.
But the funny thing is we have that now. I mean, they're not gonna reboot it from now.
No. After Secret Wars.
Well, because obviously, it's going to be the end of the phase, and it's going to be a new phase. This is going to be the end of the multiversal phase. Because you have, right after the Doomsday, you have Brand New Day before Secret Wars. They have Spider-Man Brand New Day slotted in between Doomsday, and granted, they might have more movies afterwards as well in between those two movies. Because I don't think they're going to have only one movie and then you're going to have Secret Wars.
Yeah, because there's still a lot of space for them to announce projects.
But the first one they announced is Brand New Day. And that almost feels almost like a reset, Brand New Day.
Well, it's a reset for Spider-Man.
For Spider-Man himself,
Spider-Man himself, because the thing is this, I think what they're going to do is they're going to kill off our Peter Parker and put in Miles.
It's weird because from what the rumors, like I said before, I don't know if Sony's going to allow the MCU to have Disney to have Miles.
No, MCU is not going to have Miles. They're not going to have Miles.
Share. I don't know if they're going to share Miles. They realize they have two Spider-Mans now, and they could share one.
MCU is going to have Spider-Man. They're not going to have Miles.
But they could share one. And they have two Spider-Mans. They realize they have two Spider-Mans. It's for them to make more money to share one, which would be Peter, and keep one and create a new Spider-Verse for themselves, which would be Miles.
Well, they already did. They got into the Spider-Verse, across the Spider-Verse.
Which made money, and then they delayed the third one. With so many freaking problems.
But they delayed because it didn't.
Yeah, but they're delaying it a little too long. Like it's...
Dude,
the hype it's gonna start dying down. I know it'll come out. Some people will still be hyped because I'll still be hyped when the third one comes out. But you gotta stand with reason that this long, some of the hype is gonna die down. The people are gonna be like, hurry up already.
I'm gonna say this one more time. Incredibles. How long did we wait for it?
Oh, it's almost 15 years, 20 years.
Bingo.
For the second Incredibles.
Yeah.
All right, but the thing is that it wasn't like Second Incredibles was announced right after the first one,
right?
And then it took them 15 years of rewrites and shoots and fixes.
It was the fan service of like, oh, when are we gonna have another one?
They never. That's the difference. They never announced it. Yeah. Then they came out and said, "Guess what? Incredibles 2." Everybody went nuts. But this one is like, "Oh, we're gonna have Spider-Man this February," and then no, I mean it's gonna be in December, and then nope, it's not gonna be for another 2 years. Oh no, wait, it's gonna be another year.
Toy Story.
Back one.
Well,
Toy Story didn't have reshoots like massive reshoots like that. That's the whole thing. You could say Toy Story, you could say any other one, but all the other ones they were never announced right after and because the third one, I thought the third one was the last one, the way they ended it.
Yeah.
And then they announced the fourth one. It wasn't like they said they announced the fourth one, and then all of a sudden, it's not gonna come out this time. It's not gonna come out that time, and they kept pushing the fourth one back.
We got spoiled because like we can't have it both ways because we got so used to them making phase announcements, phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, so on, right? We got so used to them like our hunger for like the next movie.
Yeah.
It was predicated them giving us all these phase announcements and timelines and so on, and then they shoot themselves in the foot because they can run into production problems, and then they have to push back. So I think it's like I almost appreciate it more that they have not announced anything else because it has us waiting versus like giving us a little appetizer and they're like, well, we want more, and then forcing their hands to show us more, and then we kind of ruin it for ourselves.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
That's why I'm saying that this third part of the Spider-Verse, of Miles Spider-Verse,
right,
is it's taking too long.
Yeah, because
they gave us that snack. They gave us that, hey, it's to be continued, and then they gave us a release date, and that release date came and went, and they were like, no, and then that release date came and went, and then they stretched it out to what rumors were saying
2026. 2032.
Rumors were saying 2032
for the animated.
Yeah, animated. And people were going nuts. 2032, what the? And then they came in, no, 2028. And they were like, oh, still a long wait. And now they're saying 2026.
Well, it's a 3-4 year wait, but I mean, it's like.
But now
after the 3-4 year wait already.
Yes, I'm saying. So it's difficult. It gets people antsy, and then people get turned off by it because of all the pushbacks.
Now,
what I think where Sony went wrong with that is, they're not doing like what the MCU does, where like they'll say 2026, right? But they've already shot most of it.
Yeah,
right.
They did principal photography,
So they can say 2026, and it almost feels like Sony didn't, for some reason, they didn't think it was gonna do well, and they was like, oh my wow, they actually liked it. Let's start working on another one real quick, and
like the Ninja Turtle syndrome. Oh yeah, they did Ninja Turtles 1 and then 2 right after.
Yeah. And then the third one is like, let's put this one out while we work on the third one.
Yeah.
It's and in terms of as far as the live action, with Secret Wars and Brand New Day, actually let's do it in order: Doomsday, Brand New Day, Secret Wars. You really got to think how much longer is Tom Holland going to be in the franchise?
Yeah, I think he has 3 films and that's it.
Yeah.
Well, but they always say that, and then they renew the deal.
Yeah.
Like remember, he had these first 3 films, and then they renewed the deal.
They had to renew the contract, but I think
he doesn't want to be stuck in that role.
He doesn't. The actor himself.
Yeah.
But as for Spider-Man, the way they go, they could have him grow up on the films.
Yeah,
and it'll be fine because the guy's growing up too, and you see him older, and that's the explanation.
Out. Yeah, he'll grow out of it.
And that'll be the explanation. He's growing now to college. Brand New Day could be him in college.
It could be him in college.
Or like maybe 2 years in college still, whatever. You know, you don't know how
his
it's going to go.
last year in college or whatever.
Yeah,
just to say that.
They could be pushing him now to be an older Spider-Man. Maybe to try to brook a deal with Sony and grab Miles in, and then have Miles with Peter, and then kill off Peter.
And then, kill off Peter.
But, brand new day, I don't think brand new day is going to work that.
It would be hard. It would be a hard sell for him to be killed off. Even though obviously there's always a comic relevant, storyline that happens.
They don't stay dead,
right?
Yeah, they don't stay dead. But
I think it's more of in the live action. It'll be a passing of the torch.
Well, it has to be a passing of the torch, in one sense or another. But someone has to pass.
Yeah, but Iron Man died.
Iron Man died.
Remember, he did all that, and then he was in everything, and then he died.
Right, because it was supposed to be the end of it was supposed to
be the end of that saga, and that was it. But
yeah,
here's my thing.
He didn't have to kill off Iron Man.
Here's my thing with going back to Sony. Going back to Sony. Going back to Sony real quick.
Let me interject real quick. They did have to kill Iron Man, and because from the first Avengers, when Tony and Cap were arguing, Cap was like, "You'll never be the one to crawl over the wire." Put your life on the line, and
he was saying that. What would you know about putting your life on the line when you always hide yourself behind a suit of armor?
Suit of armor, and then the rebuttal to Cap was, everything special about you, came from a bottle, right? So they had to play that dynamic out to the very end.
From there, it definitely was
right.
The plan definitely was Cap is gonna die.
A human being.
A human being special in other ways other than because he's special to Agent Carter.
Agent Carter, yeah.
Well,
and then Iron Man dies
because
being selfless
because his character development went that route that
he became selfless.
He had to sacrifice something. But go to the Sony
back to Sony Spider-Man. This is the problem that Sony always faces, and we kind of seen it in No Way Home, but we enjoyed No Way Home. Every time they bite off more than they can chew, they always forget about key factors. We have at the end of the Across the Spider-Verse, is Into the Spider-Verse is the first one. The second one is Across the Spider-Verse.
So the last one is supposed to be Beyond the Spider-Verse.
So Across the Spider-Verse, the second film, we have 3 plot threads forming. They probably filmed 2 and forgot about the third. That's probably what happened because during that film, you didn't see much fighting. You saw more exposition, more talking, more plotting. You didn't see so much fighting. Most of it, which a lot of people are still wondering, we have the Spot. The villain, the main villain,
right?
The fact that Miles still has his dad. His dad has to, die,
right?
Period. And then you got that goes inside with that. Those 2 events go with the Spot. Then you have Miguel O'Hara trying to prevent the end of the Spider-Verse or the connected web of life and destiny. Trying to prevent that because the anomaly is the spider.
Right. Well, Miles is the anomaly.
The spider is the anomaly. Not necessarily Miles. The spider is because the spider's from a different dimension
right.
or different universe and came to that dimension and bit him.
Right.
So
it wasn't supposed to bite him.
Because the spider, exactly. He wasn't supposed to bite him, but he was supposed to bite Miguel. What was it? I mean, not Miguel. Miles G. Morales, who became the Prowler. He was supposed to be the Spider-Man.
Yes.
So they have that, the Miles G. Morales, on top of the Miguel, on top of the Spot. So that's 3 opposing people on that one character. I see Spider-Man 3 all over again. New Goblin, Sandman, Venom.
In the animated universe.
No. I'm talking about
Spider-Man 3, though.
Spider-Man 3 movie. Remember how bad that was?
Yeah, well, okay, yeah, but
Remember-
you're talking about it's gonna play that
It
way.
was meme worthy, but
Right.
It was meme worthy, but that was
gonna-
before memes were a thing.
Right. You're saying it's gonna play that way, but in the Sony animated universe.
Yeah, because what happened was this: they wanted to introduce the black suit. They wanted to introduce Venom. They didn't put too much of Venom's story into it, and with Sandman's kept falling back and forth, and then they placate to Green Goblin, aka New Goblin, and it wasn't Goblin enough. Too many threads that really do not intersect with each other.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, the redemption story too of
I hated the redemption story with Sandman, where he was like, "I'm sorry, Peter. He's like, I forgive you," and then he just like blows away in the wind. It was just like,
yeah, because that was supposed to play out completely different.
Yeah.
But
because they had to close it somehow.
They had to
like you said, they had so many plots going at once. They had to close when that one somehow. Okay, they closed Venom the way he takes off suit, the sound and and he tears apart the suit or whatever and blows him up. Kill Venom.
Yeah, because remember, that's just the three for
the
Miles.
the Raimi Spider-Man versus
but not,
what's going to happen in this animated.
Yeah, so in this animated, you have that same scenario building up in 2. You didn't see the build up from Spider-Man 3 like that in 2. You saw that build up during the 3rd film, which made it very controversial. But
it was cluttered.
Yeah, it was cluttered. But because Spider-Man 2 Across the Spider-Verse, there was not a lot of fighting. More so, there was like
Well, the explanation of their connected universe.
Bingo was
took a big chunk of the movie.
Yes, exactly.
And the thing that I play at is when you got to remind me of how it went, but how like it went back. He went back to the universe because in
the spider, the one that bit him.
Right, he went back to the universe to where the spider came from.
Where the spider came from, yes.
Right, because of I forgot how it was with all the Spider-Man chasing him, and he went through the whole complex thing.
Miles, Miguel told Miles that spider that was supposed to bite Peter in that universe, but that Peter died instead.
Exactly.
That Peter died in that universe where the Spider-Man came from.
Yeah,
right?
there's no Spider-Man in that universe because Peter was killed because he was never bit by the spider.
Yes,
because that spider somehow ended up
in his
Morales' universe,
and that's because of the whole portal thing that was going on in his first film. Because Peter Parker died, and another Peter Parker was just pulled out of the universe instead.
The rip.
Now remember those 3 plots for just Miles, right? There's a 4th plot.
Gwen Stacy's plot.
Yes,
She's
with the
also,
rebellion.
Yeah.
With the rebellion, but she also prevented her father from dying.
Bingo.
Because he quit the Force.
Bingo.
Causing him not to be where he's supposed to be and where he wants to be killed.
Bingo.
So there's 2 anomalies now, and it's her.
Technically
and Miles.
3.
What's the 3rd one?
Prowler.
No, well, I feel like the Prowler, he was going to become Prowler either way because that universe was supposed to be Peter to get bit, not him.
Yeah, but it's an anomaly. That doesn't mean it's going to break. This is an anomaly.
Oh, that's right. That's the 3rd one because there's no Spider-Man in that universe. Okay, yes, you're right. There's no Spider-Man in that universe because that Peter died because that spider was... Well, ain't that the same... Well, he wasn't supposed to be bit in that... So it's him not being bit, the Spider-Man... Peter Parker not being Spider-Man in that universe, and then Gwen.
Yeah. Now, if you look at it...
There's also... because... not necessarily because of the spider, but because there was no one there to mentor...
Peter. Miles
G, to steer him away from the path of becoming the Prowler.
Yeah.
Because remember...
there's no Spider-Man in that universe.
Remember in the first one? Yeah, because there's no Spider-Man. Because remember in the first movie, when Peter meets him, Miles had his senses, the Prowler colors, and then when they connected, it changed to that blue and red Spider-Man sense.
Yeah.
So that's where he was stirred away from being the Prowler to becoming Spider-Man in that first movie when he met Peter. You remember that?
Yeah,
Remember when they recognized each other?
Yeah.
Their spider senses go off.
Tingle, and the color palettes are different, but
And then
eventually they harmonized and became one.
And they became one. Because him becoming Spider-Man steered him away from becoming the Prowler of that universe.
And
because there's no Spider-Man in that one, he became the Prowler.
But also in this one, Prowler doesn't have his father; he has his uncle.
Right, that's what I mean. It's the influence.
Because it was like a landslide of.
See, here's the thing.
Of things that happened because of that.
Miguel thinks that Miles is anomaly, and his stuff has to crash in order for it to exist, right? Like he has to lose the loved one, right, for it to exist. Now, if the spider's from the other universe and that Peter Parker don't, like, there's always a Spider-Man. It doesn't necessarily have to be Peter, but there's always a Spider-Man.
Right. Their version of the anchor being.
Yes. So
to link it to MCU.
So basically, if that's the case, then just because that spider came from that universe and bit Miles, that's the reason why that universe still exists. So there's so much going on that they probably forgot. This is why it's taking so long to film.
Or to write and to
because there's too many threads. You can't finish that movie in that whole story arc. You can't finish that in one film.
But if they what they need to do is, if they do the rewrites and the reshoots and everything they're doing for that film, if it goes over a certain time limit, they should need to leave it go over that certain time limit. You know how some studios we wanted 90 minutes, so you have to cut it. They can't do that with this. They need to. It's gonna go 2.5 hours. Then it's gonna go 2.5 hours.
Yeah, like,
you know what I mean. Then let it go 2.5 hours.
It's a cartoon. It's a lot easier to do in an animated movie to shape it into a certain time frame.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's a cartoon, so
and especially when you have a lot of moving parts, because you consider the multiversal Spider-Man. You got the opposing faction of Spider-Man. You have the Prowler, our Miles, and then you have everything that's going on with the Spot and that universe, and he's basically going to eat that universe, and he was going to another universe eating himself. Pause.
What a skill!
I know, right? He's absorbing himself to make himself, and he inverted. No, but he inverted himself from being the Spot of white and black to black and white, which is crazy. So that's another thing that they're gonna have to figure out, and I think that's why it's taking too long. They Sony themselves, basically. They Sony themselves.
I mean, it is the only thing that they have to keep them floating in the hero genre, because nothing else has really played out well for them recently.
Sure.
Morbius, Craven.
I guess that's why the whole rumor about them selling Peter Parker's name to MCU and keeping Miles makes sense, because Spider-Man has been really the only Marvel franchise they have that has made them money.
Yeah,
like you said, Morbius crashed down. Craven was terrible.
And Venom,
Madam Web.
Venom didn't do too well in its outgoing.
Not the outgoing, but the box office. The first one was great.
The first one was great because it was different. They wanted to see how it was going to play out, hoping that Spider-Man will pop in there somehow, even though they were told it's not happening.
Yeah. The live action is
that's crazy.
They're grasping at
Spider-Man. You couldn't put him in Venom. You couldn't put any
and I think it had something to do with the shared universe contract, and they didn't want to confuse the audiences. And I think what they could have done is come up with an agreement along the way and just made it work. But when you have two opposing forces being greedy on one IP that's being shared, and the ownership goes to the main one, but they want the movie to succeed because the last movie they did flopped, makes sense. Because I liked Amazing Spider-Man 2, but they did what they did in Spider-Man 3. put
too many
much
characters.
too much in one spot.
Yeah.
Gwen Stacy dies. We got the Green Goblin, which is Harry and not Norman.
Right.
But so I think Gwen Stacy dying was a good fit in that part.
Yeah,
part
but it should have been just the Goblin portion. It should have been. It shouldn't have.
or Electro, or
kept it Electro, or kept it Electro.
Ended with Electro, and then like the third act. But they did that because they had plans. They were dressing up plans for
part 3
for
Amazing Spider-Man 3.
Right.
It was going to lead into another movie.
No, it was for the Sinister Six because
it was leading because at the end of that movie where he's walking,
yeah,
you got the wings and then you
see. I would I would prefer an ending like that.
They put it mid movie, first third of the movie or close to mid movie, second third. They already put it in because they had all the tech down and the special projects. So like I get that they were trying to do it. I think having Goblin at the end of it was because they couldn't. They had a cut of 2, and they were going to save Goblin for 3, and realized they didn't have the money or something, and then they just shoehorned them into the second one. Like that could have been a good reveal for 3, but they already had it intertwined. They already had it twined in there.
It's done. I'm done with my cigar, guys.
I'm almost there.
That's what happens. We get different ones. We end up like
different sizes.
Yeah, different sizes, different timing. I took mine down to the nub.
That's a nub. That looked like a fucking toenail clipping, bro. That's how small it is.
and imagine I could have took it down further, but I had my.
You don't got your pick. You don't got.
I left it in the car. Left everything in the car.
Smoke pick.
Left everything in the car. But yeah, I still want to see a Sinister Six, to be honest.
Like
I'm dying to see. There's no setup for it, obviously.
There's no current setup for it.
I'm just saying. I mean, they showed like Scorpion in the jail.
Well, actually, there might be because.
Well, I mean, there's no Doc Ock in this universe just yet.
There's no Doc Ock in this universe. Let's say we have to, because we talk about Sony universe and animated universe and MCU universe. Currently,
all right, so now we're talking. I'm talking about the MCU now.
Right. Currently, MCU. They have Adrian Toomes. They have Scorpion. They have
Vulture.
Right. Adrian Toomes is.
Yeah. My bad.
Yeah.
I'm thinking
about Adrian Toomes is Vulture.
No,
Matt
I was
Gargan
thinking
is Scorpion.
So for some reason, I was thinking Tombstone when he mentioned it. But yes, they have Adrian Toomes.
No, that's Lenny.
Yeah, that's Lenny. Yes. I got confused.
They would make the same mistake as they did with the Raimi universe. If they try to, they're not gonna try to put them in now in the Brand New Day.
No, they're not, obviously,
because that would have to lead to Secret Wars. But if they actually have, I was about to say Tobey Maguire. if they have Tom Holland,
we're old. We forget things.
If they have Tom Holland for, I would say, for them to flesh it out, they need 2 more movies after Secret Wars, if they're gonna lay the groundwork for Sinister Six. Because you got 2 of the characters already. You don't have Kirk Connors in MCU. So you don't have Lizard.
You don't have Lizard. You don't have Doc Ock.
You don't have Doc Ock.
Green Goblin.
You don't have Rhino.
Well, I mean, they from the castings, who knows if
that's castings? We're talking about current,
right?
Okay, but
you also
we're talking about current. That's visual. That's
all right, but
absorbable.
But we could talk about the casting, because the casting seems like it's gonna be Norman and
but they haven't introduced
current setup for Sinister Six because if
I already agreed they have no current setup, current setup. I said I'm saying they have a casting for Norman, which is they coming from Brand New Day apparently,
right?
Or Doomsday. I'm not sure exactly how they're gonna work. No, not Doomsday.
It's Brand New Day.
It has to be Brand New Day. Sorry,
right?
It has to be Brand New Day. But yeah, right now, because what it looks like
they don't have an in-universe.
Right now, no Norman,
no
Doc
Osborn,
Ock,
no Osborn, right.
No Doc Ock, no Lizard, no. Toomes is not even in this universe right now. He's in the Sony universe. They never showed him going back.
They never showed him going in the first place.
But they did.
No.
At the end of Morbius.
That's Morbius. That's Sony's movie.
Yes, exactly. He went from the MCU to Sony.
Right.
He never went back to MCU. They never showed him going back to the MCU.
That was a weak tie-in anyway.
It was a weak time. So
it was just the fact that he was in the prison and he had the prison's jumpsuit on. So Adrian Toomes,
and he didn't know he was at or whatever. Then he was like, "Oh, we got to find Spider-Man." And we talked to Morbius, but the whole thing was that he jumped universes. They never showed him going back. I don't think way MCU.
I don't think he jumped though.
Yeah, he did. Watch the end of
he jumped
Morbius.
into Morbius. He jumped in Morbius.
He jumped into the Sony universe.
But here's the thing. Morbius is not a part of the MCU.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. So, he left the MCU and ended up in the Sony universe. So right now they're missing Toomes as well in the MCU.
Well, let's just follow.
Unless MCU retracts whatever happened in Morbius, and he was still in the prison.
Most people do not count it. Most people don't count it.
Most people don't count it, but that's what they were going with.
We're just gonna follow the path of Homecoming, where he was captured and arrested.
But in a sense, but you have to mention that because it happened. Because that's it's the same way. I call it Venom jumped into the MCU and left a piece of himself. We could talk about Venom and him getting the black suit, but because he came to the MCU and they accepted it.
Yeah, he came into the MCU. We accepted it. We see the piece, but here's the thing.
But with Sony, he jumped out to the Sony universe from the MCU, and they never showed him going back because they're not going to make another Morbius movie.
Yeah, but here's the thing you're forgetting.
Was it a jump though?
Yes, it was a jump.
Because they just showed him in some hallway.
No, here's the most important part. The most important part is this.
Watch the ending.
In Morbius, they say it ties into Spider-Man, right? But Spider-Man's not a part of that universe. There's no existing Spider-Man in that universe.
Because he comes out, but that's what I'm saying. In the end of Morbius, he comes out, we got to speak about Spider-Man. Like he mentions Spider-Man.
He does.
So because he jumped from the MCU to the Sony universe, dude, and they never showed him going back. So
they never showed the effect of him jumping. They just the fact that the character was there.
Well, they have
they showed him.
They have it, and then but the thing is, like I said, what MCU would do is just scrub that, so he's just still in the prison.
Right,
if you realistically speaking, he's currently not in the MCU. Yeah. He's currently not in the MCU. The last time we saw him was in the Sony universe. So he's currently not in the MCU. So MCU doesn't have Vulture now at the moment until MCU scrubs that part and shows him back in jail in the MCU.
If you want to go with that rhetoric, and I really say,
if that's what happened.
It's what happened because what Sony was trying to do is force us to continue watching more villain movies.
Yes, I know.
Story wise, it doesn't apply.
Why wouldn't it?
Because think about this. It makes no sense for him to warp from a reality that Spider-Man's into a reality that it doesn't exist.
All right, so and that's the truth. But it happened. But the thing is again, like I said, MCU's gonna have to scrub it.
MCU don't have to actually do anything.
But the scrubbing it, they don't have to acknowledge it. Is what I'm saying.
Okay.
They'll just let's say if they want to use Vulture again, they'll just show him back in the prison like nothing ever happened.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's scrubbing it because they're scrubbing it by not mentioning that he ever disappeared.
Well,
you're retroactively scrubbing it. By not mentioning that he jumped. Well,
not acknowledging it is not acknowledging. You're not to scrub it is to actually say that it actually occurred.
To scrub it, you make no mention of it because you're scrubbing it. You're making no mention of it like it never happened. That's scrubbing it. You acted like it never happened because you scrubbed it out. There's no point to it, so you're not gonna mention it. So you're just gonna keep going with him being in the MCU.
Tomato. Tomato. Tomato.
It's still there's so many damn freaking.
Because we're saying the same thing, but you're saying
there's so many damn plot holes.
But that's the only way that MCU's gonna have him keep the same thing. But currently, at the moment, he's in the Sony universe.
Right.
If they ever decide to make a Morbius 2 and have him show up, which obviously not. It's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. It's not going to happen.
It's morbing time.
It's morbing time. They used in the comics.
Venom.
They used in the comics, right?
I know.
Recently, guy was like teamed up with Morbius. He goes, right, it's Morbid time, and Morbius said, "I'll kill you if you ever say that again."
Yeah. So, MCU Spider-Man, MCU Peter Parker universe potential. The plot hole still exists. There's still no Osborn.
Yeah,
There's no
Oscorp.
Oscorp. You know.
Agreed.
And then you also need.
You need Kraven the Hunter.
You need Kraven the Hunter. You need.
They're just flashing back. There you go. There you go, man. Vulture flashes back, and he was touching Kraven at the time, and Kraven flashes back with him, and then that's how they bring him in.
Oh my god! How about this? Brand new day. They don't even go according to the Sinister Six, and maybe if they reboot Spider-Man, hear me out. If they reboot Spider-Man, maybe they should start off with the Sinister Six, and let the story play out that he's been whipping each and every single one of their asses
individually
throughout the film for them to have a final battle at the end of the movie.
Look, dude, like I said, I agreed. I said in the beginning, there's no way they could do it right now. Because
I'm not arguing with what you're saying.
No. I'm agreeing. I'm saying there's no way they could do it right now. I just would love to see a Sinister Six because that's a dream of mine. I want to see a Sinister Six movie.
See, I just want to see Spider-Man get the black suit currently with the proper logo.
He will, but it's going to be after Secret Wars.
Proper logo.
Oh, I like the fan made next trilogy of Spider-Man. You seen it? It's like Brand New Day, and then Secret Wars happened, and then the next one's Darkest Day. Because you know how everything was. It was Homecoming, Far From Home,
No Way Home.
Now it's Brand New Day. They go like, it's Darkest Day, and I forgot what the third one was.
Day After Tomorrow.
I was gonna say that right now. I was like, the day after tomorrow, everything's gonna freeze, and he said. And also talking about freeze, switching up universes, going to DC. You hear about what they're gonna do with Dr. Freeze?
Mr. Freeze?
Giancarlo Esposito?
Mr. Freeze. That's gonna. They said they're going back to like the 1969 Batman, Mr. Freeze. And because remember he was in the Dr. Freeze style, the way they had it.
It was Mr. Freeze, and then it's like they changed it to Dr. Freeze.
So so they're saying that's what they're saying. Like they mentioned they were like, it's like the 1969. It was Mr. Freeze, not Dr. Freeze.
Yeah.
I don't think it's gonna be campy. Like,
no. Okay, like I get it. It's like with the Hulk, David Banner. Is it Bruce Banner? Or is it David Bruce Banner or Bruce David Banner?
Yeah.
So get that. So, did we ever talk about the animated series Spider-Man? Because I don't think we did. We got so hung up on the movies.
We talked about some of it, but he never watched it, so we were waiting.
TV?
Yeah.
The TV?
The one
MCU TV.
Yeah. Disney Plus.
We watched it.
We talked about it, but we never.
I watched it all.
We ain't go far because he ain't watch it all.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I did watch it.
We did actually, we talked about it being a bootstrap or...
Right, it's a bootstrap.
Predestination.
Okay. I just want to make sure.
Or a predestination.
Predestination.
Yeah.
We did.
Which is crazy because that means it's an infinite loop. It's going to keep going.
Well, it is a loop, yeah.
Well, it's a loop, but there's no way to go back to stop the loop because it already happened. Like it's like the events of Osborn in the Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man is what caused the loop to begin with.
Shit.
But also those, because we talked about how I put the question out of how it was. The only reason why it worked for Peter Parker is because they used his father's DNA, and that's why it was compatible with his genetics. But
which is weird when it comes
Osborn
to
did,
season 2.
he made 1,000 spiders. So like that one spider that went through Doctor Strange's loop. Like what happened to the other fucking
20, 30
spiders, right? And we talked about one could be Silk.
Right? Yeah, but that's the thing. Remember the spider went into a bag?
Yeah.
And we know it was, but
it could have been Gwen's bag.
They announced season 2 is Gwen Stacy's going to be Spider, or Spider Ghost, or Spider Gwen. So they already have they showed what she looks like and everything. So the guess is that it went into her bag, but the fact that it has Peter's father DNA, let's say, or the spider has,
how's it gonna work?
How it's gonna work exactly?
Well,
it went to her bag. If it bites her, how it's gonna work?
Yeah, but it wasn't because in the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man,
he's smashing his cousin.
The spiders were created from Peter's DNA, and one of them looped through Doctor Strange's portal to initially affect
Peter, and then that same spider went into someone else's bag,
right?
Which we could assume now from the reveal of Spider Gwen or Spider Ghost that it might be her that the bag went into.
But what has
maybe that's what causes the attraction, like he has with Silk. Well, in comics
could be.
It's because they shared that the actual spider sense of like they're drawn to each other.
Yeah, they're drawn to each other, but that's the thing. That's a whole different thing. It's a whole where it's like, okay,
I like that. I like that it's following at least the design of the classic comic books and the actual the classic cartoon.
Yeah.
The whole thing about his father still being in jail, or is that Uncle Ben?
No, that
was his father.
Was that his father? I think it was his father. Well, good question. Was that his father or Uncle Ben? This guy, I gotta watch it again. Like, what? Give us a second while we look it up. We have to look that up.
Yeah, it was the father, right?
That's funny.
Your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. Peter Parker's name is father's name Richard Parker, and he was voiced by Josh Keaton, whatever, some other stuff.
And that's right. I forgot that also season 2 had.
It was. I mean, because it was his father. Ending. It's not Uncle Ben, because it's a Richard Parker.
Richard Parker. Okay. So yeah.
So his father's in jail for some reason. That they're gonna have to play that out somehow.
So his father was in jail. That's what she visited, and then they also showed the Watcher.
Yeah.
Yeah, and whenever the Watcher shows up, that means an event is about to occur.
Mm-hmm. I mean, and mind you, they canceled any more seasons for What Ifs. So What Ifs is done.
What If is done, but the Watcher's role still is significant,
of course.
And I think that's smart because the Watcher is done, but they know now people who've been watching, no pun intended,
watching the Watcher.
The What If know his role,
yeah.
And whenever they see him pop up, boom, light bulb.
Funny enough, I didn't notice him the first time around. I had to watch it again. I had to watch it again. I was just so just like it happened, and I looked away, and I was like, "Oh, this is crazy," Oh, that was nuts. And I had to go, and when I heard, "Oh, yeah, the Watcher showed up," and I was like, "What?" So I watched it again, and I went back to the ending, and I was like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah. Oh man.
I mean, I seen it the same night. I watched it again the same night to be sure.
But
his father's still being alive, and now his mother as well. Now is the question.
What's going to play out is what's the reason why he's in prison, and why it was kept from Peter.
What if Aunt May is not Aunt May, and Aunt May is really mommy?
Oh man, that'd be some weird.
That is trippy.
Yeah, it is gonna be extremely trippy.
Because we already see that Ben Parker is really his father.
That's
a whole nother hot mess.
Because they
changed their identities because something.
I don't know.
They hinted at that in the Garfield movie of there was
Yeah, because he found his bag inside the.
It was all part of this, special projects. He had to disappear, so on. It was like it just happened, like in the middle of the night. They left, and that's why whatever. Well, but with the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, it's like what we already see that Osborn and Octavius were partners at one point,
as usual,
right?
And Osborn, it looks like Osborn stole his
tech.
Yeah, stole everything.
Everything.
Right. So do you think it's going to be that Richard Parker, the father that's in jail, prison, whatever, was more aligned with Osborn, or was he more aligned with Octavius, and maybe got framed by Osborn, and that's why he's in prison? Like, where do you think the alliance falls?
Because I know, like in the original,
because Osborn stole the tech.
In the comics, wasn't his parents like Indiana Jones kind of people?
Yeah, technically speaking, and we're talking about Ultimate Universe.
Yeah.
And mind you, all this stuff from MCU, anything that they do in the MCU, always came from Ultimates.
Right.
Everything's Ultimates, from the looks and all that other stuff. Granted, we get some of the comic book classic looks, like in Avengers, and then
well, and also they played off a lot of the different uniforms for I forgot what the other team up was, where Spider-Man had the different suits. They when Osborn was creating the different suits for Peter Parker.
Identity Crisis. But that was only Spider-Man's comic book, because he was trying to stop being Spider-Man because the Daily Bugle kept smearing him, so he wanted to fight crime and shit.
Yeah,
but
so funny.
But
I think it's gonna be more. I think they're gonna play, if they do play it out this way, I think it's gonna lean more like, they were all working together. Osborn, Parker's father, and Octavius, and Osborn stole the intellectual property or all the research and so on, and monetized it versus, and kind of like pushed Octavius out along with.
Yeah.
But what's with the identity change though?
What's with the identity change? I think it has something to do with espionage, power, maybe the super soldier serum. Maybe that's something that they're probably working on.
Because they were like,
they're working on it again.
They had the pictures of Osborn in his hallway with Cap and Iron Man, and so there has to be some government level contractor or association where they had to keep it quiet for some reason.
Yeah. But something that I'm really excited for?
Tell me.
X-Men 97 Part 2.
Yes.
X-Men 97 Part 2.
Feral Wolverine. Feral, no adamantium is going to be wild.
I can't wait to see Onslaught.
Onslaught?
Dude, that's when I got into comics.
I remember Onslaught. I remember the whole comics was Onslaught. I bought the whole thing.
Dude, I remember I got into Onslaught, and honest to God, when I started reading Spider-Man thoroughly, it was during the Clone Wars saga.
The Clone Wars, yeah.
So I had a couple of comics of him in black suit, because the cartoon came out. I'm like, oh, he got a black suit? Oh, shoot, it was the comics with the black suit. Got all the comics with the black suit when I could. Then the Clone Saga was my thing, and I always thought that Ben Parker was the original Spider-Man, because I loved that costume, and plus he was also in Amalgamation. When they had Amalgamation Comics, for those who don't know, that's when that DC and Marvel crossed over, and Spider-Boy was fighting.
Spider-Boy,
yeah, Spider-Boy was there, and we had all Dark Claw and all that, but also you had Marvel versus DC, where Superboy fights Ben Reilly, and Ben Reilly fucks Superboy. Gotta love it. And then also in that comic, I think it was Venom versus Superman, and Venom fucked up Superman. Made me like Venom more.
Yeah.
Granted, it's fan service shit, but
it was a give and take.
Yeah, give and take. But
they had to let some DC leading. It's the fights leading up to that amalgamation. It's some fight. They were fighting each other, and some fights had to be won back and forth.
Storm.
Because Superman has always been written as super OP, like beyond OP.
And for some reason, this alien suited badass comes out of nowhere.
Well, it was Alien versus Alien.
Yeah, it was technically Alien Suit versus Alien.
Oh yeah, okay,
technicals.
But Alien Parasite.
But you know what we never got to touch on, and I hope we was going to touch on it today, which I know we're pressed for time. Tron. Did you guys see the trailer?
No,
I haven't yet.
didn't.
I know it's out. I haven't yet.
I've seen a couple of screenshots of just the bike, which like the thumbnail for the trailer, but I didn't actually watch it.
The trailer is crazy because what you see isn't what we are perceiving. Excuse me. It looks fucking dope. I can't wait to see it. I'm dying to see it with you guys, man. As soon as that shit comes out, we're like, oh, yo, I got the tickets. We going.
Well,
we going. This is gonna be an all day event. We're gonna probably see this movie twice.
Oh, there, you gotta prepare yourself. You gotta watch the first one. You gotta watch Tron. Then you gotta watch Tron Legacy.
Legacy.
Funny
all
enough,
the Trons.
I had a discussion with some randos. And the guy was telling the other guy, "Oh, you don't really have to watch Tron. You could just watch. You could skip to Legacy."
Tron Legacy.
And I was like, "Well, I mean, if you're gonna watch them in order, you should watch Tron." Oh, but they do a good job in Tron Legacy explaining what happened in the first one. I said, "Yeah, for those because they needed to bring a whole new audience in, so of course they're gonna describe it
right. They have to bridge it somehow."
Yeah, so I go, but I was telling the guy, if you really want the effect, watch the first one, and it came out in '82. But the CGI for '82 was great.
Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah,
the style of filming was great. That whole like black and white, and the colors were the
neon,
the neon blue, and the suits, the green, and all that stuff. And I was like, you have to. I was like, if you really want to get the effect of watching these movies and then watching the third one, watch the first one. Just watch it. Watch the first one.
Do you think that they're gonna address the time of from the last one to this one? Because I'm not all the way on the Tron universe, so
neither am I. I'm not all the way invested in the Tron universe.
It's been 15 years. It's gonna be 15 years from the second one to this one. Versus the 30 from the 30 from.
I mean,
the
they
original.
explained why he was there for 30 years, or whatever.
Yeah.
And the universe was saved on the thumb drive.
Right. Yeah, but dude, the way it looks
I
though.
probably will.
I mean, I always liked the visuals of Tron. So.
The trailer reminds me, and tell me if I'm wrong, the first Fast and Furious trailer mixed with Tron. That's what it reminds me of.
Speed racing.
With the speed racing?
With the speed racing, because they at night and they got the neon lights and they're going on the truck and shit. But here they're on the highway and the cops chasing them and shit. Mm-hmm. That shit looks crazy, bro. It's crazy because you see these vehicles in our reality, or what we perceive to be our reality.
Right. Yeah. That's what the third one is it looks like it's somehow they came to true life, right? So
that's what it looks like. I think it's the contrary. I think it's the simulation that is simulated, replicating what we have here, and these guys are just invading like viruses. I don't know, but I look forward to seeing that. I know the joke is like this, like that's good.
I gotta watch the trailer. I'll probably watch it tonight.
Shoot, you know what? I think we should do for Cigars and Ash. We should do a film commentary while we're watching, talking shit, smoking, listening in, talking.
Oh, watching the old movies,
Yeah, we do a Cigars and Ash movie edition.
Yeah. I mean, that'll be a long thing, but I'm like, we already do over an hour and a half.
We already do over an hour and a half.
Just talking shit. We might as well do it over the movie.
Yeah, but it's summertime, so I think that would allow more time for us to kind of like squeeze in a movie or two and talk over.
Yeah, it's an anthology, so we're gonna have to do it over three.
Of course.
3 episodes. 3 or 4 episodes. If one
depending on how long it is.
One movie, 1.5 movies per episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm down for it. We gotta pick a universe, a genre, or an IP. Which one are we gonna dedicate ourselves to? Because we can't have an anthology if we're doing it's not going to be the Fox universe. I mean that's
fuck no.
No, but like I said, we could do Tron once it gets closer to the third movie.
I think that would be more.
Yeah, we'll do a recap of the first two before the third one comes out.
Yeah, because we already did the Deadpool one with the Fox universe. We did that I think last week too. We talked about the Wolverines and which one was which and stuff like that. So we already crushed that shit. So that's done. But as far as like Tron, I think that's something that we could actually do and compare, contrast, and all that other shit. But
The sign is real simple, B. It says wrap it up.
I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. We'll do it in a minute. We'll do it.
Wrap it up, B.
so, yeah, dude, we got 10 more minutes. What you talking about? I'm messing with y'all, guys. This is another episode of Cigars and Ash. As I have Potato Joe saying that I don't want to be on this couch no more.
That wasn't me. That wasn't me, man. That was our producer. He said, "Wrap it up, B." He said, "Don't you see the sign? Wrap it up, B."
We got somebody in the booth fucking playing us off like the damn Oscars.
Yeah, and as soon as I'm about to get in the mic, he interrupts me with his phone because he thought it would be a nice pun. So.
It played very well.
It actually came out clear on the headset. So, I'm one of three. Loco Lou.
Keeps to be named later.
And just Joe. Joe. Drop the potatoes. Even though
so we got Nameless and Potato and the crazy one. So we'll catch you on the next one. Please leave a comment in the description below and all that other good stuff. Hit the like button and let us know if we should do an anthology on Tron or anything else that you're interested in. All right. And with that, we bid you adieu. Ciao.
Adieu.